I'm always fascinated when there's somebody with a comedy background that tries to do something new. This time we have Zach Cregger, who has brought us a new horror movie called Barbarian. Cregger is a part of the sketch comedy group Whitest Kids You Know. If you have not heard of them, I highly recommend to check them out. I saw a trailer for this movie a long time ago, and I will not lie, I was not really interested in seeing this. That wasn't until I discovered Cregger wrote and directed this, and I also heard a good word of mouth for this movie. This is one of those movies that a lot of people will say to try to know as little as possible, and I agree with that. Now, I do plan on playing clips from the first trailer just so I can have some footage just to help maybe give a little visual idea of what I'm talking about. That's about as far as I plan on going as far as spoilers go. If you think that is too much information, then go ahead, pause this video, go see the movie, come back, watch this, and then I will talk about it. But if you are still curious about this movie, let me go ahead and just give you a very quick synopsis. Tess, who is played by Georgina Campbell, comes to stay for a night at an Airbnb. She discovers that there is somebody else staying in that Airbnb. There's a guy there named Keith, who is played by Bill Skarsgård. I don't want to go too much into detail after that. Let me go ahead and start off and say I really enjoy the cast. Casting Skarsgård in this movie is already a brilliant idea. We're automatically suspicious of him, just like Tess. We, the audience, are already aware of Skarsgård's acting career. He famously played Pennywise in the two It movies. He has a very distinctive look that can be haunting and chilling at times. It has to do with his eyes. So there's that to it as well that can give off like a creepy vibe. Even when I feel reassured just beneath all of that, I'm still a little uncomfortable. Campbell, who plays Tess, is fantastic in this movie. You might recognize her from the Hang the DJ episode from Black Mirror. Hopefully this puts her a little bit more into the spotlight. She's funny and she has a nice charm, but more importantly, she does fantastic with the horror elements. Now, Justin Long does show up in the movie. His name is on the poster. That is not a spoiler. When I first saw this movie, I did think Justin Long was a miscast. The type of character he's playing just doesn't seem like this is something Justin Long is good to play as. But I started thinking about it, and it's just really different from Justin Long's entire career, and I really appreciate that. It's something different, and it works out in the end for me. The storyline behind his character might seem a little bit half-baked just because the story has to keep going and also has to focus on some other elements that involve horror. It takes time for his story to have a deeper connection with the overall movie, but I think it pays off really well. I do think his storyline does start to lose a little bit of momentum in the second act. It does pick up later on. At some point during the second act, I was like, all right, where is this going? It still kept me interested, but I wasn't tense like I was earlier in the first act. Despite that being my biggest gripe, I really didn't know where this movie was going, and I had a blast with it. The humor is there when necessary, and it's balanced well with the horror elements, even though I did find myself a bit more tense than actually laughing. Also, there are tons of great shots in this movie. It's a great way for Cregger to stand out as a director, as a visual artist. There are transitions and there's editing, and there are even angles that could have been done generically like any Blumhouse movie, but he goes for the unexpected with his style, and that just makes the movie a lot more fun to sit through. There are plenty of shots where I was like, I was not expecting them to do it like this, and that's really cool. Barbarian has a lot of great elements, from horror to comedy to nostalgia. The entire movie is unpredictable. I really enjoy Campbell and Skarsgård in this movie. It did take a long time for me to finally understand Long's choice to be in this movie. I think it's smart. I really enjoyed him. This is a horror movie that can offer you a great theater experience. Sometimes the best aspect of seeing a movie like this is seeing it with a crowd and getting to hear their reactions. The momentum does slow down for me a little bit in the second act, and I do think the ending is just a little bit rushed. There is information that is just given out in like one sentence, and you're like, oh, okay. Maybe they could have done a little bit better on explaining something like that, but it's a very tiny gripe. I'm curious to see how this will be on a rewatch just because of shock value. I'll know what to expect. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna play in the long run. Go check this out. It's a fun movie. Bring a friend. I'm looking forward to see what Cregger does next. I think he really has potential to do some great horror stuff or even comedy stuff. If he wants to do that again, I am definitely open to it. I am going to give Barbarian a 4 out of 5. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. Have you seen Barbarian? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know down below. Let me know what I should review next. I do have an idea of what I'm going to talk about next. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want. Make sure you exercise every day, drink your milk, and have a great day.